Surprised you're actually smiling.
Welcome to another episode of the Kennel NRL podcast, where we're always happy because we know our team's still coming first despite suffering a heavy loss. Dibbo, welcome to another episode of the podcast, brother.
I'm always happy because I don't expect anything from my team.
Mate, and you know what, bro? After last night, whenever you guys played on Friday afternoon, I don't think you guys should be expecting anything from your team. That was pretty piss poor, to be honest. But anyway, we're not here to talk about that. What we'll be doing today is we'll be reviewing the Dogs versus Broncos, and then what we'll do is we'll preview the game. We'll preview the Dogs and Titans Magic Round match, as well as all of Magic Round this week. I think really enjoying the discussion that we've been having around all the different games and all the different teams. So that's what I want to be doing. If that's something that you guys like and are happy with, please let us know in the comments. If you think it's too much, also let us know in the comments. But I think we're going to start with reviewing that that game on Thursday night. I have a lot of thoughts about that game, and I'm going to let myself. Sorry, guys, just closing the door. So I am going to let myself go a little bit about that game, and I'm going to be really honest about how I feel about the game, and I'll really want to hear your thoughts about this, guys. So here goes. That game was unbelievably unlucky. I think that was one of those situations where anything and everything that could go wrong did go wrong. The first half was also a perfect performance by the Broncos. I have to take my hat off to them. They were fantastic. They played the perfect half. We started very poorly. I think that 6-0 probably got to our heads a little bit as players, and they went up there thinking that the Broncos weren't in good form. They played pathetically against the Warriors, and definitely the Bulldogs went up there a little bit cocky. Now, I have a few thoughts about what this means for the Bulldogs and what other fans of other teams are saying. For me, I think it's as Jamie Teasdale, who's been a member now for 9 months, absolute legend. It's kind of good we got the loss now rather than the back of the year. If we lost later, might have dropped the boys' spirits. I sort of want to echo those sentiments that it's good to have a loss now and to find where our weaknesses are now, as opposed to waiting further down the line and sort of getting exposed a little bit later. The other thing is we sort of shown just exactly why we do need props and we need some bigger bodies. So to see how much Payne Haas tore us up the middle, and for us not to be able to contain his offload was sobering for the first half, just to see that we didn't have the same type of big body that could counter the aggression from Payne Haas. I think, he killed us. He absolutely killed us with his offloads, and that's sort of where the rot started, I think. I was disappointed in that first half, and I was like, please don't let them score 50. Please don't let them score 50. We know the age-old saying, no team that's ever had 50 scored on it has won the grand final or has won the premiership. So as long as they didn't get 50 on us, I was sort of okay with it. But I did want to see a massive turnaround from the boys in the second half, which is what we saw. Am I worried about that first half performance? I think in 8 weeks, we've had one poor half of footy. And that gives us a lot of hope, because we didn't have a poor game. We had a poor half. Sure, they could have put the Q in the rack, but I don't think they did. I think that the Broncos kept trying in the second half, but we were able to get into our rhythm. We were definitely able to get into our rhythm. We were definitely able to, play the game we wanted to play, and we came away much better. And I think in the second half, we did leave 2 or 3 tries out there. Now, I'm seeing comments in the chat. hard on. He looked so depressed, or we were outcoached and things like that. I don't think we were outcoached per se. Again, we go back to that second half, and I think that the Bulldogs showed their spirit. But to see the Broncos and the way they performed for 40 minutes was mesmerizing. It was great footy. Adam Reynolds showed exactly why he's so good, but he got injured like 3 times, and he had to struggle to keep going. So it's sort of good in a way for the Broncos because now we know what they can do, but it's also like, well, how long can Adam Reynolds keep going for, and how long can he keep performing for? The other thing is, I think this is that was the Broncos' first good half in about 2 years. So again, a lot of people can write us off, and a lot of people can say, the Bulldogs are this or the Bulldogs that, and that's okay. I think I like them writing us off, write us off at your own peril. But look, it wasn't me getting cocky. I think that we will come back against the Titans next week and show everybody, even with the lack of forwards, what we're made of. But yeah, look, sorry, Dibbo.
No, you're right. It was good to hear it from you. Well, there's a few things. One, obviously, the Dogs were shell-shocked, obviously, with some refereeing decisions on the NRL crackdown that obviously caught them unawares, being the first game of the week. I mean, was it even announced that the refs were going to do those sort of overzealous crackdowns, as we'll call them, because it was overzealous? Yes, there was some high shots there. They were clear high shots. Did they warrant sin bins? Maybe one. If anything, I thought maybe the sin bin warranted... the knee warranted a sin bin more than anything. Besides that, the Broncos came out on fire, and that really caught the Dogs unawares. It's something I touched on last week's podcast. Can the Dogs lift another gear when other teams go another gear? Have they played to their ability already this year? Is this the best that we're seeing of the Dogs, and there's no improvement further than that? But yeah, that's what it got me. 34-0, everything came off for the Broncos. The kicks in the corner, those barnstorming runs up the middle. The Dogs got smaller forwards, and whether big forwards are hard to handle. I'm just finding it. Sorry, I'm just waiting on Elmo. Okay, is anyone else having issues with audio, or is he the only one? No, okay, everyone's hearing good. Sorry about that. I'll just continue. So, look, just from my perspective, obviously those are caught shell shock with some refereeing decisions. Everything the Broncos did in that first half was perfect. It came off. Wet weather. The Dogs had a non-existent kicking game despite having Burden in there. He put no kicks of note, I found. And by the time the halftime ran around, it was 34-0. The game was good as done. I did think that Brisbane could have still hit the 50 points in the second half if they wanted to, but I guess there was no need to extend themselves further. And look, the Dogs, to their credit, did nail on 3 tries rather. They got a lot of soul searching, the Dogs, I think, because not that they won't win more games. I definitely still think they'll win more games. It's in the sense of soul searching is. If Brisbane play like this, like they do, if they play consistently like this, then they see themselves as a premiership threat. Do the Dogs want to see themselves as a premiership threat? I think they want to. So they need to go find the answers where they can...
Hang on a second. Sorry, I want to take issue with that. What answers do they need to find? We played one bad half of footy. We came back and rectified it straight away.
That was not a rectification. You don't kid yourself. That was no rectification.
That was a rectification, and you know what? We left a couple of tries out there.
The Broncos didn't even get out of second gear in that second half.
They still tried.
I'm giving you a reality check. When the Brisbane lifted to an intensity, the Dogs were shell shocked. I'm telling you, this is where they need to go find those answers.
They got I'm telling you, I strongly disagree that you can't tell me that one bad half performance is now telling us, we got to go.
It wasn't just a bad performance. They were blown out of the water.
So were Melbourne by the Dolphins. They got absolutely slaughtered and they're winning 16-2. What does that mean? Does that mean that Melbourne are no longer contenders? The Broncos are lost to a Warriors team. What does that mean for them? This is my point. My point is that everybody thinks that, you know, all these so-called rugby league supporters.
Yeah, but I just want to point out to you the difference. But you're missing the point here. Melbourne's got credentials. Canterbury don't have those credentials yet. Everyone knows Melbourne
what credentials?
Melbourne
what
have gone and
credentials
lost
are we
to St.
missing?
George.
No, what
Everyone knows
credentials are we
Melbourne
missing,
when it
though?
comes to those sort of finals intensities are there. This is where Canterbury need to go out and look for answers. They'll win you at least 80% of games this year. Of course, they'll roll most sides, right? But the answer I'm saying here is I'm not even talking about their top 4 credentials. I'm talking about the next level. That's what we're talking about here. And as I touched on, can Brisbane produce this week in, week out? That's another thing Brisbane need to do. This is the sort of things that the Dogs need to get over if they're going to go far into the final.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you. But to say that we had one poor half and then we came back in the second half and we put in a good defensive performance where I
gave them credit,
speed.
but yeah, the Broncos didn't even need to get out of gear there. They didn't need to even try as hard.
I actually thought that the Broncos kept trying, and they kept trying, and that's why they were able to score a try in the 80th minute.
They didn't need to extend themselves.
I mean, the Bulldogs. I mean, if you think about it, there was one try. There were a couple of times where Montoya put the ball down. Had he taken the ball, there was a good chance they score 34-24. Do you think the Broncos are comfortable? That's my point. My point is that you know, I understand that the Bulldogs had one bad half. I'm not saying that we won the second half or anything like that. I don't think that matters. I think it's more about the mentality. We didn't put the cue in the rack. We didn't say it was over. We came out and we fought.
No team's going to throw in the towel. Definitely not.
Many teams have thrown in the towel.
I'm just pointing out to you that Brisbane didn't play out of their skins for that second half. It could have easily been 50 plus. Easily.
I don't think it could have, even if they wanted to. I think that the Bulldogs got their defensive set. If you look at the way we played in the first half versus the second half, right? The first half, you had Controversy out of position when he came to 40-20s. You had Toby Sexton giving 7 tackle sets, twice. You had us making really poor defensive reads out wide in both Montoya and Kiraz. And we were able to tighten that up. Right in the second half, they tried to throw some of those.
Do you honestly think that's going to be a once-off this year?
I do. I think that the Bulldogs will learn enough, and Ciraldo's shown enough that he will adapt from losses and he will take the lessons out of that, as he said in the press conference. And
of course. And that's what I'm touching on. This is a loss where they need to go search for answers because they're not playing Gold Coast Titans.
We don't search for answers for what though? You make it sound like
I just pointed out before. It's not a normal.
No. You're saying now.
You're not letting me finish because you're in denial.
There's nothing to be in denial about. I agree that we need to get some, and I agree that we need to learn from that. But searching for answers and learning from it are two different things. Searching for answers and learning are two different things. Searching for answers means we don't know what's going on here. We don't know what we're doing, and we're fucked. That's searching for answers. Learning is we made mistakes. We need to improve from those mistakes, and now we need to learn from them. There are two different things here that we're talking about. If you want to write off the Bulldogs after that one game, right, and say that all of a sudden their systems don't work, they don't have the defense, that you know what I mean? You're writing them off after one game. I'm not saying that it wasn't a very bad.
Have I written them off? I've already said they'll win 80% of their games. That half was the sort of finals intensity half. They need to go and try to get over.
Look, I agree with you. I think that there's a lot that we need to learn from that, but we're far from needing to search for answers. We're still the best defensive team in the competition. We're still first, right?
Yep.
And look, this Titans game is going to be a tough game, but I think that the Thursday game against the Broncos, that first half was an outlier. If you want to look at statistics, it was an outlier. It wasn't the norm. You can't all of a sudden take that half and say, this is what the Bulldogs are going to be like moving forward. That's my point, right? And look, even the Broncos supporters, commentators will accept that the Broncos got the 50-50 calls and the Bulldogs didn't. Sure, we were ill-disciplined. I'm not going to at all say we weren't ill-disciplined. We were horrible. We were very ill-disciplined. We didn't come prepared. We didn't show up. We didn't show up with the right intensity. We tried to spread the ball all in wet weather. All about that, right? But to write the Bulldogs off, or to say that we need to search for answers as opposed to learn from that game, I think it's it's very fatalistic, and only a person that wants to see the Bulldogs crash and fall will be saying that. A lot of Bulldogs fans, we are fickle fans, and then that's the truth. But I actually have a lot of trust in the not only in our coach, but I think our defensive systems have shown that we can do better, and we will do better.
Well, I reckon this game gave a lot. We gave a lot for Serrato to take away.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree with that.
There's a few things. There's a few tough calls he needs to make. There will be, and whether it's in the play, I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be for this year. It could be for positional changes this year or some players. But I think also in the player transfer market, I think this was I hope it was a good eye opener for him. I think there was a lot there that was evident for me that. I mean, if Dogs don't want to do it, I mean, from an opposition fan point of view, perfect, But there's a few players there I just thought they can't go when the opposition goes. I still think you guys can improve on your spine. That's where I think the key is for you guys, your spine. Your forwards are all just bashing each other to get into the starting spot. He's got a lot of forwards. He's got a healthy competition for your forwards. I still think you can improve on your 9, definitely. Definitely improve on your 9. And there's somewhere in your halves there. There's that extra killer blow that you guys need in your halves.
So, again, I want to go back to that game. I think what it showed crucially is, we lack the aggressive forwards that have the strength and the power to stop the likes of Paynas. Kikau, I thought, did very, very well. Right? I thought Kikau was everywhere and he did everything that he could, but he didn't have the forwards to go with him. The other thing is, people obviously, I don't know, for whatever, I'm happy to take the criticism, but people forget that we played in the first half, we played 20 minutes with 20 players, or 17 minutes or whatever it was in the first half with 12 players. Whether you want to accept that or not, against the team that had so much momentum.
Sorry, the comments are killing me.
Against the team that had so much momentum and such a big forward pack, and they came in to play so hard, it's, I think it's very rich for anyone to come out here and say, oh, the Bulldogs need to go searching, the Bulldogs need this, the Bulldogs need that. Everything needs to be put into context. The Bulldogs had come off a high. They had 65,000 fans, right, at Accor Stadium. They smashed the Rabbitohs 32-0. It had the very semi-finals, grand final vibe. The Bulldogs came in, and sure, they were a bit cocky. Maybe they weren't up for it mentally. They started the first half very poorly. We played with poor discipline and hence played with 12 players for half the first half. That's going to kill any team. Any team, especially when the Broncos were playing so good. And again, I have to point out, the Broncos played very, very well. The Broncos played excellent. There is never, ever any way, right, to discount how good the Broncos played. Their forwards, their backs, Adam Reynolds, Payne Haas, unbelievable across the park. But they played for 40 minutes, which has always been a Broncos problem, going back to the 2023 grand final. Now, what I did realize, and something that I pointed out to the boys when I was watching the game on Thursday night, and something that frustrated me, was, I think this is where Critter is showing his inexperience as a leader, but also his age, his young age. And you guys remember, right? The Bulldogs were playing with aggression. They were putting their shoulder in. They were trying to come over the top of the Broncos forwards. When, Curran got sin binned, then Tupanua got sin binned, I felt like instead of Critter looking for a circuit breaker to break their momentum and also rein the boys in so that we could control our aggression, Critter was there throwing the shoulder into Cobbo. Critter was there still being the aggressive center and not being the calm, cool, collected leader that we needed. because at that point I felt like our discipline didn't improve even with the sin bins. Critter needed to come in, right? Critter needed to come in, get the boys calm, take leadership and take control, and then reassess how we're going to approach the rest of that first half. I don't think Critter did that. I think that Critter couldn't adapt on the fly to what was needed from him as a captain. I'm not here to criticize Critter. Critter is a 24-year-old captain who's won 3 grand finals, who's literally taken the Bulldogs from being, losing 66-0 to being one of, the number 1 team in the competition at the moment. So I'm not here to criticize Critter. I'm just here to say that I think Critter's development as a captain still has a lot of work to go, and I think this will be a lot. This will bring a lot of learnings for Critter as a captain, because I think Liver81, who's also is a Broncos fan, let's talk about leadership. I think it's a great point, and that's something that I noticed that.
Yeah,
Critter
I wanted him to talk more on it. I want him to look when you're having a bad game. Look, one good thing the captain can do is be in the ref's face. Try to take our attention away, soften it off his players, unsettle that ref. He needs to be in the ref's face. He's too good to the refs, I find. He's a respectful person. I think he's just too good to the refs, I find. Like, if it's just not going your way, psychological warfare is another way of doing it. Try to unsettle the ref, buy your players time. Take attention away from the players. Put it on the ref. He needs to be more boisterous. I got no criticism of him. I think he's a perfect fit to be your captain. And yeah, I had really nothing to say about him on the weekend. But you've touched on a good point. I mean, you've picked out something a lot of people didn't probably pay attention to, but you're on the money there. Needs to more to the ref.
Yeah, 100%.
More in his face.
Yeah.
More in his face. Psychological warfare.
100% I agree, and I think that's why I say this game, everybody's sort of being very fatalistic about a one bad half of footy and it's over. Look,
it's not over. I'm not saying.
I think that the Bulldogs.
I'm saying we need that. They need to go that next level. They want to challenge for the title.
I think the Bulldogs will be, or will come very close to being minor premiers. You don't lose. It's not like the Bulldogs rocked up this year and all of a sudden they started defending well. It's not like, the Bulldogs have been building towards this now for a while. What happened against the Broncos? Again, I don't know how many times I've said this, but they literally played the perfect half of footy and everything that could go right for them did go right for them.
Of course.
And look, again, you can criticize the coach about his rotation. You can criticize the coach about his selections, but he's doing what's worked. And I think that he brought Bailey Hayward on, took money off, and I think he should have brought Man on a little bit earlier. I think he could have been that circuit breaker for us in attack. And if we had gotten that one try, I think maybe it breaks their momentum a little bit. Or if Burton went for a 40-20 and kicked a 40-20, it could have broken their momentum. We didn't have a circuit breaker. And that's what I think we needed. And I just don't... again, everything just didn't work. And Eddie Abs has mentioned something. And I want to have a talk about this because I think it's something that It
was wet, honestly. There's one thing of note. Sorry to get a bit worked up, but
Please do.
Wet weather. Where is Burton with those skyrocketing kicks, kicking early?
I agree,
That was
bro.
tailor-made for him to kick 40-20s, kick early, turn them around, put those skyscrapers up. Absolutely nothing. I hope the coaches absolutely torched him. And if he hasn't, I hope Phil Gould or someone torched him. Like any coach growing up would coach and tell you, kick it early in the wet, turn them around, bog them down there. If you get the opportunity to put up a skyscraper, put it up. Catching that ball is 100 times harder. I think they might have only put up 1 or 2 bombs the whole game, and they weren't even skyscrapers. Like, what was going on? There was so many opportunities to kick you guys out of trouble. Non-existent. Whereas on the other side, Reynolds took the memo. It was nailing 40-20s, putting in the long kicks. He was kicking them deep. Connor Tracy was having to retrieve them from deep in his half.
Yeah.
But like how many times did he kick early and catch your wingers shallow?
Yeah, no, 100%.
It is. That was one thing I picked out and got me worked up. For someone that's got a booming left boot, biggest in the game, absolutely non-existent. Such a letdown, and it was prime made for him.
I'm not here to. I'm not on the Burdo isn't a 5'8" bandwagon. I still think he's one of the best 5'8s in the game, and I think he shows his value every single week. I just feel like in the wet weather, we needed Burden to just get the ball on fourth and just boo the hell out of it.
People are complaining that he's got a knee injury. Then why is he playing? If he's fit enough, he's good enough. Simple as that.
No,
we don't make excuses here.
Yeah, look, I agree with you. I'm not making excuses. I think that Burden needed to be using that big boot more often during the game. We needed him to take control, and he didn't. Unfortunately, I'm not. Again, this is not Burden's fault. I'm not here to say he's not a 5'8". Look, I disagree with Eddie Abs. Eddie Abs saying he's not a 5'8". I disagree. I think that Burden is definitely a 5'8". He's shown the vision. He's shown the running, the kicking, all the different attributes to a 5'8". On that day, I felt like Burden, like the rest of the team, was a little bit shell-shocked. And I do feel that Bulldogs, are playing Burden with a little bit of injury. He's not 100%, only because if Burdo was 100%, he would be taking the kicks and things. I don't know. There's a lot there. But just while we got you guys, we've got 45 people live. Thank you so much for your support. If I could just get everybody, just literally everyone that's listening to this conversation, everyone that's loving us firing up today, please just click thumbs up. Give this video
I just want to interrupt.
Up. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Share this live with your mates so they can jump on so we can be even more heated.
I just want to interrupt. Did anyone see the video that Elmo made today about the mascots? Honestly, how mad was that? You might not agree with the lineup 1 to 13 or 1 to 17, but that was pretty awesome. I mean, go on our socials, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Go have a watch there. Leave a comment. Maybe he'll gather all the comments together and he might even make a new one basically, or some other ideas. But go give it a watch. Absolutely loved it. Mind you, I'm still fuming that you put the Dragon on the bench.
Hey, I put the Bulldog on the bench though.
That Bulldog should have been the hooker. Better have an argument over this now.
Yeah, we can get into it. But what I'll do is I'll just
just go on our socials, Livo. Go on our YouTube page if or after this, or you can go watch it on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. You'll see it there.
I've just shared it there. I've just shared it there.
They can watch it after. You shouldn't have shared it now. Anyways.
Anyway,
Storm on the bench. We all agree. Hussam here has on the bench. Everyone must be happy that the Storm were on the bench. And the Parramatta Eels on the bench. That was another one. I think we all enjoyed that. Anyways, a lot of good fun in those shorts.
Look, there is an argument that Haywood is a better 5'8" than Burden.
Oh no! What? Oh, I don't even know.
No, I don't.
I don't know. I haven't really seen him play there, to be honest.
No, I thought when he went into second receiver against the Broncos, especially in that second half, I thought we flowed a little bit better. I feel like last week Burden came back from injury. This week,
too early.
Or against the Broncos, was a bit
early.
I think he was a little bit underdone, and still trying to sort of find his moment and pick his rhythm. The one player I do think
who's doing the kicks then this week? Critter?
Yeah, so Critter should be kicking again.
In general play, I'm talking about. Sorry, my apologies.
Oh no, it'll be Haywood. Haywood and
Haywood's got a good kicking game. I hope so.
I mean, when he does pull it out, it's actually not that bad at all. He's quite good. Look,
I'm not being biased here, but honestly, Haywood the last few weeks when he's come on that hooker, I found he was more creative than Marnie. I actually liked what I saw, even though he wasn't a hooker to start his career, but I actually liked what I saw. He's more creative dummy half. I think that's an asset having a half or a former half as a hooker in the attack. I thought that was good.
Look, I do too. I think one of the things that Haywood does bring is creativity and speed. I think he's a lot faster out of dummy half than Marnie is. I think his service is a little bit better.
We'll get to that later.
Jamie Teasdale with $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Jamie. Again, you're an absolute legend. Thank you so much for all the support that you guys provide to us. Now, you know, I look. Someone is saying, AK is saying, how isn't Sexton getting criticized? I think that Sexton had one bad half, but has had a great year. We don't need to overdo the criticism. I think that Sexton has been fantastic for us. I don't think that Sexton needs much criticism, to be honest. I think Sexton's been fantastic and really made up for it in the second half.
Criticism besides how his kicking game was non-existent. Like, really, that was just that game pissed me off.
Where the one in the first half against the Broncos.
Yeah, like, man.
I agree. I agree.
Kick that. I'm about to start swearing. Kick that damn ball.
Yeah, no, but in the first half, we had something around 30% possession. In the whole game, we only had 44% possession. We had the ball for 4.5 minutes less than they did. They made a lot more meters than us, a lot more tackle breaks. The average set distance was bigger than ours. More kick returns. Look, ultimately, like, it is what it is. That game is one that where we didn't show up and play like we did, and it was a costly game because we had 3 suspensions. Now, look, say what you want to say. The Bulldogs can do well. I think we can be okay against the Titans, but it will be costly for us that we have Sitili Tupunua, Josh Curran, and Matt Burton injured, which leaves us very, very light. Very light in the forwards this week against the Titans, but we will get into that. But I think it's just one of those things where, the Bulldogs, have 3 players out. So I just want to put this up here because it's going to be tough for us because, if we look at the bench that we've had to name this week.
What's on those comments when you're done?
Yeah, well, give me just 1 second. I just want to put up a photo of our suspensions.
5 weeks for Tupunua, 3 weeks for Curran. Burton's 1?
Yeah, so Josh Curran took the early guilty plea. He's out for 3 weeks. Sitili Tupunua took the early guilty plea. He's out for 5 weeks. And then Matt Burton's taken the early guilty plea as well, and he's out for 1 week. So we've got Sitili out for 5 weeks, Josh out for 3 weeks, and then Matt Burton out for a week, which definitely tests our forward depth because Sam Hughes is out until around the round 12. Phil Gould's mentioned on his on X. So again,
why
we've got that's because he's still got he had surgery on his ankle after a high grade syndesmosis injury.
Damn.
And
needs that size.
So he's out. Yeah, so we've got 3 of our pretty much our forwards are out. So we're really we're really up shit creek when it comes to our forwards. Our bench is extremely light this week, and it sort of worries me a little bit, to be honest. But
no Jack Underhill still.
No, so Jack Underhill, because he's not even in the he's not even in the development players. He can't play until around 11, and then he has.
Okay. So we probably will see him off then. Okay, thanks for explaining.
Yeah.
All right.
Honestly, I don't understand why everybody's going so hard at Sexton. I don't. I don't think it's warranted at all. He did have a bad first half, but the whole team did. And so, look, he was MKTV saying that Sexton was outclassed by Adam Reynolds. Of course he was. Adam Reynolds is one of the oldest and probably one of the best halfbacks in the game. He was outclassed, but for one half of footy. Let's see where both teams are at the end of the year and who's performing what at the end of the year. Then we can make a judgment. I just think that people forget how young Sexton is, and people forget the trajectory that Sexton's career has taken. So again, I really don't get the criticism of Sexton. I just don't think it's fair. People saying, we should get DCE or whatever. The guy's going to be 37. He's not an answer, and he's not even Like we aren't even asking that question really. I just don't think that we're gonna need to discuss anything.
Lachlan Ilias, take him off the Dragons.
Oh, get out of here, bro! Don't you start with me. Which is,
oh, geez.
so one thing I do want to address by David is Miney is on the outer, which is sad, but his penalties, mixed tackles, few 40-20s, no running, no half passing
He's
service.
pointed out some credible things there. Good shout out, David. Good call.
I think it's a great shout out, if not taken in context. I thought he had a poor first game or couple of games where his service wasn't crisp, and we all know what happened in the second half. In the second half of the final against Manly last year, where he showed a lot of ill discipline. I think his biggest problem is that his service isn't as crisp as it needs to be, and he's very much a confidence player, and I think he's down in confidence. I don't know who we put at 9. I mean, does Bailey Hayward become our 9 in place of Marnie? Who becomes that second small man on the bench? I don't know, but do we need a second small man on the bench if we have Kurt Mann there? I don't know. I just want to see Marnie come out and show us why we've put the money on him. His service out of dummy half needs to be a lot better. He still does that thing where he takes a step and then he passes, and it frustrates the shit out of me. Like, bro, why are you taking that step? Just pass straight off the ground. If you look at, mate, I'm not going to compare him to Harry Grant, but if you look at even like Little, if you look at Jeremy Marshall-King, if you look at Reece Robson, Wade Egan,
just go, mate. Yeah.
They just straight
takes a skip out and he ends up getting tackled with it, or
straight
something
off the deck 20 meters, or they'll pass and run in back into the ruck and get markers offside. Marnie there's something about his service that's become slow. I know he's a grand final hooker. I know that he's excellent. It's not about criticism, but it's the last few games. There's been a few games this year where I feel like it's either he's lacking confidence or he's not sure what to do. Like, it's just something there. I don't know if it's the game plan that Seraldo set, but yeah, it's definitely frustrating. And I think like it was for all, excuse me, it was there for all to see that Seraldo clearly was frustrated with him, made a lot of missed tackles. And I just want to see him come back to form. I think that he's a hooker. He'll be our hooker in the finals. He's done a lot for the Dogs, especially in the first couple of years that we've had him. And I think, obviously a couple of bad games doesn't get you out. But it's just one of those things that I think I've just noticed his service needs to be a lot better out of dummy half. And I think that when Hayward's come on, he's done a bit of a better job. What are your thoughts on that, Dib?
Look, Tigers have come out. They want to re-sign Api Carousel, who I think he's 33 this year, I think, for another couple of seasons. And they've come out and admitted that, with Reece trying to retain him, it means they probably won't be able to retain Talon De Silva. Talon De Silva is a young, highly touted hooker who's in search of more game time. And obviously a bigger pay packet. Not necessarily an inflated pay packet, but something more significant than what he's getting now. Now, from what I've seen him from an attacking perspective, he looks very good. Defense obviously needs a lot more work still going on there. I mean, I'm sure under the Bulldog system, he will get to that. I just feel like he's need a Porsche service. So a Porsche-like service out of dummy half. And at the moment from Marnie, it's more like a Mitsubishi. Like, it's good at the start, but then it starts breaking down as the kilometers go on. And that's what I'm actually seeing out of Marnie. And then when Hayward comes on, it seems like the attack seems to flow a bit more smoother, to be honest. I mean, that's just what I'm actually seeing at the moment. I don't know. People reckon Marnie's on big bucks. I think that you can get better service for cheaper dollars and refine him. I know they're talking him up for State of Origin. Good for him if he makes it. I mean, obviously, for any sort of player, I'd be happy if they make it for the rep team. But I don't know, I just feel like he's can improve in the 9. I just feel like the service there can be a lot better than what he's getting at the moment, to be honest.
Yeah, look, again, I agree, but I really, really, really think that the first half against the Broncos was
He's
hey,
not.
let's forget. Hang on, let's forget that half
Yeah,
and let's move on.
yeah, but just with Marnie, he doesn't. He's not dynamic out of dummy half, and you touched on it. You were talking about obviously how little jets out during Marsh King. Marnie did that for a bit at Parramatta, but I haven't seen it in ages. It's literally gone
Mm.
out of his game. But
It could be the game plan, though. It could also be the game
you've
plan
seen
from.
you've seen Harry Grant and he zips, but why would it be the game plan not to zip out of there when the opportunity presents itself? I honestly haven't seen it from him in years now, at least a few years. Like
Mm.
you've seen it, you absolutely hit it on the nail on the head. Harry Grant, Jerry Marshall King, Jacob Little, you were the ones meshing the plays that do that sort of stuff. It's gone. Talon De Silva does that. He gives you the service, so he gets that out of dummy half. If the opportunity is not presenting itself, he gives the service straight to his halves or his
No,
forwards, and then
I'm
he backs
completely
up.
with you.
Whereas Marnie just seems like he's there just to be in the trenches. Like, come on, man, give me more than that.
Yeah,
Need
look,
more than that.
I don't know. Look, again,
Like, it's
I
going to
get.
win. Don't get me wrong. It's going to win you games at least 80% of the 80% of the year, at least. But don't you just want to go that next level?
Look, I think he has been. I think we know Miney can play at that level. It's just about whether he can just get himself out of the little hole that he's sort of gotten into. I don't know. Again, don't want to sit there and um, you know, just go over that half too much. I think that as a supporter, that was an outlier, not a norm. I move on from that, right? I think the players moved on from that, as was shown in the second half, and I honestly believe that
Yeah,
we
but
left
can
a
I
lot
just
of
point
points
out
out there.
something? Not about your team. I'm pointing out back to Marnie again. That
Mm.
sort of game he played in that game, he's done it this year in other games as well. That wasn't a once off.
It's been 2 or 3 games this year where I feel like the seven
At least I
has been
reckon
missed.
you're right. It's probably more like 3 or 4 games. But honestly, that wasn't a once off. Honestly, it
Let's
seems
say,
like it's on repeat. And he did it last year. He did improve last year, but he did it a lot the year before as well.
let's see how we go. Let's see how we go. In the next couple of games with Money, I think Money's got an opportunity against against the Titans, and then against the
Oh, of
Raiders
course. Yeah.
to prove himself. He'll be
They
up
got the
against
Raiders after the Gold
yeah,
Coast.
yeah, he'll be up against a very good
That's good.
nine in Tom Starling and
That's good. He's
Owen
getting the
Smithies.
Titans.
Yeah, yeah. We'll get to sort of show what we can do. But
You're right.
look,
It is a tough game. It's away from home in the wet.
yeah, at GIO, that'll be a tough one. I think I might be down there for that game as well, Dibbo, if you want
Where
to come
GIO
along and yeah.
isn't it a Magic Round?
No, we've got the Titans in Magic Round, then we've got the Raiders at GIO
Sorry, I
Stadium.
was talking about Titans. My apologies. Yeah. All right. And then, yeah, okay. It's probably a good little, nice, challenging period coming up. They got the
Yeah.
Raiders. Is that during Origin week or before?
I think it's before. It's the week
Swear,
after.
I'm starting to think I'm not liking Origin anymore. It seems like it just disrupts the dynamic of teams and the competition, don't you reckon? And
Yeah, look,
then the crappier teams like St George starting having free wins.
Look, we're going to do a video on Origin and discussing Origin. If you guys want to see that, we might go live to discuss Origin. There's going to be a lot there that we will produce for Origin. So let us know if you guys want us to go live to have a bit of a chat around Origin. But look, this is what we're seeing on the screen now with Josh Curran, Satili Tupanua, and Matt Burton suspended. I think that's the real cost of that loss, not the fact that they put 38, 40 points on us or whatever. I think this is the problem that we're facing at the moment. It's going to be tough not having Satili there, especially with Sam Hughes injured, Josh Curran out. It's going to be tough. Look, even this week against the Titans, they've got a big pack. So I think we might struggle this week. It's a danger game for us. I actually think that this week is a danger game for us. I do think that the boys will be. I think that the boys will be out for some revenge. They'll be out for not revenge against the Titans, but they'll be out to prove themselves. And I think it's a dangerous game because if we come out and smash the Titans, even with a weakened team, it puts the whole competition on notice so that they realize that just one bad half doesn't mean anything. It means it will show the competition that we are serious. And so that's why I think this is a big game for the Bulldogs. I think it's a massive game for the Bulldogs. And so, it's up there in Magic Round on Sunday at 2 p.m. I actually think it'll be great. I hope the field can hold up. But
he's one of the later games. Oh, right.
But I do want to talk about the team. So Tariq Ahmed has rightly pointed out that David Fafita has been dropped.
You don't think he'll come in late?
Des Hasler has swung the axe.
Ooh.
No, he will drop him just to bring him back.
In front of a big crowd, it's his sort of vibe that he'll bring him in at the 11th hour on the 11th day of the 11th month, no?
No, I don't think it's. I don't think it's that deep, to be honest. I think he's just dropped him because he hasn't been performing. I mean, he missed like 8 tackles and things like that. So they've still got AJ Brimson and Tom Weaver in the halves. Look, I don't think AJ Brimson should be anywhere near the halves. I don't think he's got any characteristic to be at 6, to be honest.
A gentleman called Sasha Shopov's put up a comment. How are you going, Sasha? Just offering my, personal opinion. Obviously, you did beat Sharks at Shark Park with missing players. Very impressive. Very impressive. It was probably, round 4, Elmo, am I right? Was it round 4? Very impressive. Did put the comp on notice. But this is a 26, 27 round comp. Teams improve as the year goes on. They don't peak early. So it's a good win to put in the bag, but they can't just sit there and do all that. Yeah, but we smashed Cronulla in round 3 or round 4. I agree with you. They can't be sitting there saying that 20 rounds later. The comp gets tougher as it gets on. Fantastic. They went 7-0, or like 6 wins and a bye, 7-0. Fantastic. You want to hit the ground running. It's probably good having a loss, I guess. If the fans aren't getting the reality check, then I'm sure the coach would have. And look, I'm sure he'll go looking.
I just think that our biggest problem was, or our biggest situation was that we got 3 players suspended, 2 of them, which are forwards. Sam Hughes is injured. So that's where I think the problem for us.
It's a good lesson. Really it's going to be a nice lesson for you guys. I still think you will knock over Gold Coast, to be honest. And in
I just want to quickly point out, MKTV has just become a member on the Kennel. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And so for those who don't know, just quickly, becoming a member on the Kennel pretty much just it costs like the price of a coffee a month. And what it helps us do is continue to pay for all the content that we produce, pay for all the stuff that we need to use to produce all the content. It's not free. It takes a lot of time and stuff like that. So if it's something you're interested in, if you do want to support the podcast, I have pinned the link to become a member in the chat. Again, we really appreciate all your support. So if you did want to become a member, feel free to click that link and become a member. If not, please make sure you press the thumbs up button. Like the video. Make sure to subscribe to us. Share this video. Share it with all your mates, all your NRL groups and things like that. Tell them to come on. Tell them to come. We don't just want Bulldog supporters. We want all types of supporters. We want real tension.
Yeah, I just want to put something out there, and I'm sure Brian will like this topic. Who reckons the Dogs' attack's going to float better on the weekend against the Gold Coast? Give me a hell yeah.
Look, I think our attack will be good, but it just comes down to we need to be able to defend our sets. If we can continue to show that line speed, continue to show the aggression in defense, and not feel like we need to start playing our game differently because of what happened, I think we'll be okay. It's very interesting that the bench that Des has named, with the exception of Claes Haas, is very, very inexperienced. They're bigger than the Bulldogs, but the Bulldogs do have a lot more experience, and I think the Bulldogs are a lot fitter. That is, I think, the one thing that we have up our pockets. Zatar earlier has mentioned that he thinks that Lipoi Hopoi will come in for Blake Taff. I would like to hope that Lipoi Hopoi will come in for Blake Taff. He's been playing very, very good, in New South Wales Cup. He's been averaging about 150 meters, making heaps of tackles, just really starting to stand out. So if he does come onto the bench, I'll be a lot happier knowing that we have 3 props or forwards on the bench as opposed to having 1 utility, 2 forwards and another utility on there, because I don't know, Blake Taff, if he does stay on the bench, will probably only get 10 minutes unless we suffer an injury. And I just
I
realized
can't
that.
see him. Yeah. I'll let you finish. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just going to say, I just realized that they've actually misspelt Daniel Saluka Fafita's name. Someone's put a JD there, and it's
the same people that the Dragons employed, and then the Melbourne Storm. So
and the Dargans and the Stroms.
Yeah, same people. Jeez. Look, Sam's, if you look in the chats, actually touched on what I was going to say. I don't see I don't know. I feel like he's fallen out of the dynamics of your team. I can't see him contributing long term. I'm actually more excited to see once round 11, round 12 rolls around and he's get to unlock players outside the top 30, because I feel like there's about roughly maybe 2 or 3 players in there that can add some sort of spark to that 17, not necessarily starting, but off the bench as a rookie. And if you go in years gone past through the history of the game, there's always been 1 or 2 rookies in their debut or second year that have inspired or sparked the team to go that extra length. And whether it took them to a grand final or win the grand final, I just feel like there's potentially someone there that can force his way in. There's a few guys who have been asking throughout the year, why isn't he playing? Why isn't that playing? But obviously you've answered it today. That's why I can't wait till round 11 or round 12, because I feel like you guys can unlock a few of those players.
Look,
and I can't see Blake Taff fitting in the dynamics.
I mean, the one player you sort of have to feel for here is Jack Todd. Gets injured last week.
Oh, that's
if you imagine, like, he would have definitely been there on the bench.
Harry Schwake.
Place of,
sorry, I got excited.
Blake Taff, yeah.
No, I mean, Harry Schwakey's just hit on the point. The 2 players I had in mind is actually Underhill and Cassius Tia.
Yeah, Cassius Tia. Well, I mean, the one problem with Cassius Tia is
who's this Zion Mayu everyone's talking about?
Zion Mayu is the prop we bought from the Warriors. Yeah, we bought from the Warriors. He was he was the next big thing, one of the big youngsters that have come on alongside Leka Halasima and Ali Lawati and those guys. So I don't know. It's weird. I would love to have seen Zion, or one that comes to mind. It's surprising. There's also like Tom Amone. Could he have been someone that we play? I don't know. It's just one of those things where I think like we're really, really short in the forwards, and having a Leo Thompson.
I don't think you guys are short on forwards. I think he's got a stacked forward. You just probably need a big bopper or 2. They're there. They just haven't. I mean, Sam Hughes is obviously still injured. The others aren't unlocked yet. I still feel like he's going to get invested in just upgrade that spine. That's just me anyway. I'm not saying your whole spine, but maybe 1 or 2 positions. 2 positions really, but yeah.
Yeah. Look, I'd like to see how we go sort of next 5 to 6 weeks to see how our spine performs, because I think, like, even though Burton's away this week, I think Hayward's a good replacement. But then having
Jamie,
having Burton come back,
I forgot Drew Hutchison existed. Hopefully, he makes a comeback. Oh, he's named in the 22.
Yeah, he's named in the.
Is that the first time this year?
I think it's second time. I think it was named once earlier in the year.
Jeez, I absolutely forgot he existed, and then Jamie's mentioned his name, and I've seen it there.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think
don't remind me, Scott. That still burns me.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say for next year we did end up signing Finau Latu.
You know what's funny? I didn't even get upset about the loss on the weekend. I got upset that we lost this player.
So tell me about him. Is he that good? Like, I don't really know much about him. Tell us about him.
He could be playing first grade now, but obviously St. George being St. George, they only put you in first grade if you're either a player not in another club's plans, a player looking for a retirement fund, the coach's son, or just some washed up 150 gamer like Blake Laurie. That's how you play at St. George. But if your name's Finau Latu or Jacob Halangahu or Loco Pacifici Tonga, and you're an out-and-out superstar, you don't get the play, despite being 18 or 19 years old, and you're going to set the game alight, and you'll probably go to another club and be an immortal. You don't get the play. You just get snapped up by other clubs that pay you your worth and going to give you a play. He's actually really good. He was part of that, let's just call him the holy trinity of himself, Jacob Halangahu, and Loco Pacifici Tonga, who incidentally was a Bulldogs junior. people don't realise I think his family moved interstate at 15, 16, but St George snapped him up a few years later. They absolutely annihilated the vaunted Canterbury SG Ball Cup team last year in the grand final. It was literally a no contest. They absolutely brutalised Canterbury's forward pack.
What about Viliami Fafita for the Dragons?
He just keeps getting injured. He's first grade quality, but he either gets injured or suspended in reserve grade. So this guy's got that much of a wretched run. I think last year he got suspended for 3 weeks, came back, got suspended again in the same game, and his comeback game. Got suspended for 2 weeks, came back in his comeback game, and then got suspended for 4 weeks. That was literally a 3-month stretch. He got suspended 3 times and literally missed 3 months of football. And then he got injured a few times, and it happened again this year, suspended and injured.
That's injury.
He's just got nothing happening for him. Needs a new club. He's first grade quality, and he's a good forward. He's too good for St George, I find.
It's interesting. Like we've got him coming. We've got like some Jack Todd.
Man, Latu is going to be a gun. I'll tell you now. I'll tell you now. He's going to be like a Lambo in the forward pack. Wait till you see this guy play. He's about 6'2".
No, I 100% believe you.
Hits hard. He's got athletic build. He's got a really athletic build, and he moves and he can hit. And he's got ball playing quality. If you guys watch him in reserve grade, mind you, he's been playing reserve grade starting every week, despite being 18, 19. And just watch him play. You can tell he's ready for first grade. But Genius Club, I want to play Blake Lawrie ahead of you.
Yeah, see,
that's what I got. And my son. Sorry, I forgot his son.
Just while I have you guys here, we've got almost 50 people on the live. Please, just give us a thumbs up. Give this video a thumbs up. Press subscribe. Just share the video. Click the little arrow.
Share our videos. Share that one that hit the mascots. I love that one.
But yeah, if you
go on.
Just share the video. But yeah, so I just want to get back to talking about the teams. Someone's mentioned in the thread in the chat, and I want to call it out. Mark Jessup said he doesn't rate Montoya. Look,
he's doing a serviceable job. You can't fit everyone in the salary cap. He's doing a
great job. He's doing a great job. I still think, in my personal opinion, is that I think that Blake Wilson should be there in his place. I think Blake Wilson has that X factor that I think Montoya doesn't have, and Blake Wilson also has the work rate. That's just my opinion, and I think that Blake Wilson is more worthy of it. But I also think that for 6 out of the 7 games, Montoya's done a stellar job. So I just want to sort of address that. Jordan's mentioned that Salmon is the new Tolman. Kidding, you're sort of not wrong there. I think like Salmon is the new Tolman, with the difference being that Salmon's not taking up an important prop position, whereas Tolman was. But yeah, Salmon does play a little bit in slow motion. I feel like he's connecting. And his passing game, which connects sort of the two sides or the forwards to the backs, is not that good. That's why when someone like Man comes on, he makes a huge difference. And I'm starting to sort of think
hardly played on a weekend. That was ridiculous. Anyways,
yeah. Look,
just one of those games. Maybe the coach stuffed up, but anyways.
I just want to quickly say David A. Fulder, he's already re-signed with us. He'll be here for next year at the very least.
That's good.
He's already
you can't have him forever.
Yeah, he's already re-signed.
You got to keep upgrading the team every couple of years. You have to.
Yeah, he's perfect. I think Man is very much a key man for us in the attack, and I think against the Titans, he will show his value. That's what I think. Look, I do want to say that their forward pack doesn't scare me as much as I thought it would. So looking at Moaki Fotuaika, Regan Campbell-Gillard, I think Regan Campbell-Gillard's been fairly quiet up at the Titans. I don't think he's had a great start to the season. Tom Weaver's there, very inexperienced. AJ Brimson, I don't know why the hell he's still at 6. Jalen the Groot is good, but still very young. If we can pin him in the corner like we've been able to. So, like, I'm not that worried about their forward pack. I just don't know. Our size might hurt us. Harry Hayes and Curtis Moran are smaller props, and then Blake Taff is, I don't know what he's doing there. That's what I worry that. And look, it's going to be it is going to be a big test for us, how we get up mentally. I do think that we will win this game and win this game very, very comfortably. But it's going to be a very important game. And I'll tell you what, I think this game is going to be very, very important for Reed Miney. I think Reed Miney is going to want to come out there and really show the coach and show the team that he's of value to them being in and around the team. Otherwise, I think, Toby Sexton's going to absolutely kill it. I haven't really seen the weather, but hopefully we can get some good weather to see how we do. Given the performance we had in the rain. Your thoughts on that, Dibbo? Like, what do you think of the team coming up against each other? Do you think that the Bulldogs?
I still think you guys should still spank them by 20. I mean, Gold Coast is just dreadful, man. Like, give them the spoon. They are dreadful. Like, Tino Fa'asua Mala'awi, honestly, go back to Melbourne. And I say that in a good way. Go to a team that deserves you.
Wow, can you imagine if he was still at Melbourne?
Oh, man, give him the title already. I hope he leaves that shit club, that stupid party strip. They don't deserve players. Everyone, they get lucky because of their location. Everyone thinks, I'm going to go live on the Gold Coast. It's the party strip. It's beaches. It's relaxing. Please, man, it's losing that vibe fast. They get lucky because of the reputation the Gold Coast has got. People think it's the lifestyle. But what just a disgusting club.
I don't think it is, but I just think I don't know if
they always get lucky. They always get lucky with marquee players.
No. But is it that Hasler is past it?
Except for a big payback.
Is it Hasler that's past it? I'm sort of conflicted with them, because on paper, look, I'll tell you what it is. In my opinion, they don't have a good half. That's my opinion. They don't have a good halfback, and AJ Brimson needs to leave the club. AJ Brimson is like a thorn in the side of that club.
I absolutely loved him at fullback a few years back. I think he should be a fullback.
I think Keanu Kinney, even though he's got a long-term injury, excuse me.
You're right there.
Yeah, I think Keanu Kinney is a better fullback than him. I feel like AJ Brimson is too erratic as a player. He can't be a 5'8". And I just don't feel like the team is responding to what Hasler wants from them.
Like they don't even have a crash hot spine. They've probably got one of the crappier spines. Like,
yeah.
The only reason why St. George has got a crappier spine is not because of the hooker and the fullback. They're great. They got no halves. But actually, you know what? Gold Coast has got a crappier spine than St. George. Now I think about it, because they just don't have no spine.
Yeah,
the spine is the issue. And then they got a very leaky defense. Like, it's just, you can score so many points against this team. They got no defense. It's disgusting. Some of their players fall off tackles like they're non-existent.
I feel like they don't have the mental
they all
tenacity.
Miss tackles
they don't have the mental tenacity. Like against the Cows, they were winning, and then they just shit themselves. Even against the Raiders,
they got no defense. Regardless, even if they're giving it all, they're still falling off their tackles. It is disgusting. They should deservedly have the worst defense. Like Para now starting to stick it together now. So I'm starting to think Gold Coast should deservedly get the wooden spoon. Very quickly,
Harry Shawaki is saying, all that rubbish talk about titles, watch them beat us this week. The reason I don't agree with that, Harry, is because we're not the Bulldogs of 2023 or 2022. We are the Bulldogs of 2025. We are first in the competition. We have absolutely earned the right to be confident in our team. And even if the Titans lift, I don't think they'll match it with us, and they won't match it with our defense. They won't be able to break through. So quickly, Dibbo, give me your thoughts. What's the who's going to win, and what's the score, and who's your man of the match?
Dogs 30, Gold Coast 10. The Dogs obviously going to win by 20, and my man of the match is Viliami Kikau. I think he needs to step it up this week, because where was he last week?
He was there.
He was probably your most non-existent player. That pissed me off.
Who?
Viliami Kikau.
No, you've got no idea, bro. You're watching.
You're watching
the game with.
For somebody of his caliber, he should have been bashing forwards.
You were watching.
That's one player they really needed to step up, because he's got that terror in him. And honestly, that was disappointing.
I'm going to say that the Bulldogs are going to win 32-10. And man of the match is going to be Jacob Preston. I think Jacob Preston would be rightly down on his performance last week.
He was your best player last week.
No,
he
he
almost
wasn't.
scored a few times. He was
trying. I think his first half was quite poor with defense against Xavier Willison. He'll want to come back and show the coach that he's good for it. And I think that's going to be the case. I think the Bulldogs will come good. Just from the comments, Jamie Tisdale thinks that man of the match will be Max King with a 28-12 win.
With their crappy defense, he should be able to eat them.
Brian Dibb is saying 32-10. Eddie Abs is saying
Brian's laughing at you, I think.
28-8. Hayward man of the match. Brian Dibb, what do you think the score's going to be? It's just
he's avoiding you now. Jeez, thanks, Brian.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was a good. No, you actually hit him up with a good. Let's see his response.
Jordan thinks the Dogs are going to win 40-0. I mean, look, I don't know if we can keep him to 0.
6 kilobytes. Anyway.
Yeah, Zatar is saying he thinks that Kiraz is going to have a 200-meter game and the trial too. Well, with the forward rotation that we're going in, he's going to need to have a 200-meter game. And look, historically, we don't win Magic Round. I don't think we have won Magic Round before, so I think the Bulldogs are going to be up for this one. Lakeside thinks that Salmon's been playing 5'8" for weeks. I think it's pretty funny. Brian Deep thinks that we're going to be lucky to win 1-12. No worries, bro. Go back to your cave.
It's a bit of an odd one because they're away from home. It's going to be raining there as well, isn't it, in Brisbane? Remember last year was torrential rain?
Yeah, that's right.
I think they're copying rain again this week. I think it
should be pretty sunny.
It's going to be good?
Yeah, it should be sunny. Right. I just want to point out a comment that someone made about Preston, one man in his whiteboard. Boys, Preston should be on the left edge. He killed on that side when Kiko was away. I 100% agree with you that I think he's much better on the left edge than the right edge. But can you put him or can you move Kiko for Preston? I don't think you can move Kiko given how good. Yeah, so when Kiko was injured, Preston was on that left edge.
No, I mean, sorry, the other way around. Sorry, my apologies.
Well, Preston left, Kiko right.
Has Kiko played on the right? Because at the Panthers, he killed it on the left. Even at the Dogs, he's done really well on the left. But has Kiko played on the right?
Did very well on the left as well. So
yeah,
I mean, look, I don't think.
But they're playing outside Burden, and he does well on that left side.
Yeah. So that's why you can't do that. Look, Harry Schwakey thinks no way. You think this is going to be an easy win? No effing way. I don't think it's going to be an easy win. I think that the Bulldogs will have to earn the win. But we will come home with a wet sail and score.
Can we get a poll up?
A lot of points. All right, I'll put up a poll quickly.
Some people think that the Titans are going to roll the Dogs. Mace, Biggs. Loves a game.
Look, I understand. Right. I understand that people are rightly worried, but I still think people are underestimating just how good the Bulldogs actually are. And that's okay. Look, it's not a problem. I'm not questioning your support of the Dogs. I just letting one outlier second half or one outlier half performance dictate what you think of the team. I don't think that that's a fair way to go about it. Just here while I got you guys, we've got 46 people. Please just give this quick video a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe, share it with your mates. Let's get the discussion going. Just before that, or just on that, do we think that Lipoy Hotboy will come in for Blake Taff, or do you think this team will go in as named? Boys, girls in the chat, what do you guys think? Do you think that there'll be any changes, or will we go in as named?
Why is he even on the bench? You got Kurt Mann there. You even got Curtis Morin. How small does your bench need to be?
Yeah, we don't have anyone else, to be honest. That's
Harry Hayes ain't the biggest of forwards.
He's not a prop. I don't think.
What about Luke Smith? Somebody talk to me about Luke Smith. What is he like?
Yeah, Luke Smith is good, but I think isn't he more of a center? From what I
It was
understand,
even in
Luke
your
Smith
21. What?
isn't a prop. He's more of a center.
All right, then chuck in Lip Boy Hot Boy. I'll take him. Hands down, he's the most logical one to put in there. Might as well put or just backs on the bench then in that case. Honestly,
Yeah, look, I sort of get it.
everyone, Kurt Man, people forget he's actually started his career as a back and probably still is an out and out back. If he didn't have the depth there, he'd definitely get slotted straight into the backs. Honestly.
Yeah, look, I've just put up a poll on what you guys think is going to happen with the Dogs versus Titans. I put Dogs 13+, Dogs 112, and then Titans to win any score. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Please be sure to vote in that poll. We've only got 18 likes on the video, and there's close to 50 people here. So please just give this video a thumbs up. Please be sure to subscribe. It just really helps us get into the algorithm and really helps us boost everything that we do. So please just give us a thumbs up.
Is there no one in reserve grade that play? Who's your reserves forwards? Is there no one else besides the ones that we talked about that are outside the 30?
Yeah, there's Zion Maiu'u, who plays off the bench.
Yeah, but in the reserve, so how does that tell me he's going to play first grade?
What was that, sorry?
Is he on the bench in reserve grade?
Yeah.
So how is he going to throw in for a first grade spot if he can't even start in reserves?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a work in progress. If you remember, Daniel Suluka-Fafita was a big work in progress as well. So I think
he had a long layoff, unfortunately, but look at him go.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, he's doing well. And
who's the other forwards?
So obviously there's Curtis Moran, but
yep.
he's got him back in. There's Scott, there's Underhill who plays in the forwards as well. They've
round 11, right? Yep.
You know, there's a lot. There are a few there, but let me look. New South Bulldogs. What do you guys think of the
Hachmaiova? Come on, man, that was 20 years ago. Hachmaiova. He was playing when I was playing.
I am Hachmaiova.
He quickly went downhill after that.
Yeah, definitely.
I remember, they sent him to Cronulla. It didn't last long there. Anyways.
Yeah, so
Zion Maiu'u might not even ever play first grade. Just because he's announced his signing doesn't mean he's an out-and-out superstar.
Yeah.
No, might never even see first grade.
I'll
be surprised if you guys actually paid $450K for Finau Latu. I know the papers are reporting that's big money, but he's a gun player, and
Yeah. Look, there are some younger players that we've got. Like, so in New South Wales Cup, our 8 is Jack Underhill, our 10 is Adam Runshaw. Luke Smith plays second row, and then on the interchange bench we've got.
So Luke Smith is a forward. Okay. Who's this Adam Runshaw? You said?
Yeah, just a young guy that's come up. I think from SG Ball. I don't have. Yeah, plays 10.
He's quite young. Okay.
Yeah. Then we've got Ruben Moyle, who's been there for a while, who I think would get a chance. Should get a chance this year. And then you got Logan Spinks as well.
Sounds like they got the same. I wouldn't say they got as bad as a problem, but it sounds like they got a shortage in front rowers and props.
Which is why we've been buying so many.
They got Leo Thompson next year. That's one. Hopefully Underhill moves into the 30 next year. Is that right?
Yeah, then we've got Jack Todd, then we've got Sam Hughes, then we've got Curtis Moran. Like we've got that there, but right now it just seems like with the two suspensions, just seems like it's all come.
David, yeah, agreed. That's your deadwood. I mean, Turpin, I don't think he's needed, to be honest. So he's deadwood. He's not gonna. Doesn't seem like he's even gonna play. Hutchison, if this is his final year, there's no reason to re-sign him. So that's another deadwood. Reid Munn, he's in the team's plan. He's in the coach's plans or the club's plans. That's one of big debate to come up. But yeah,
love the comments. Love all the comments. Bulldogs Eastern by bringing some Brad Moran. Ben Chalosky, who remembers that? Ben Chalosky got tackled and some of his teeth got lodged in one of the players' heads, and he found his teeth a couple of weeks later.
Wasn't that in Kane Clill's? Was that Kane Clill, Noel Clill's son, that happened?
No, I don't think it was.
Didn't he get a high shot him or something and his teeth got lodged, or Kane Clill? Anyways.
Okay, so, I mean, with this, the poll's up. Please be sure to vote the poll, like the video, subscribe to the channel.
Parramatta can have him.
Yeah, no, Parramatta can F off. They've got Reed Miney
They can have
anyway.
him and stay
Riley
at the
Smith.
bottom.
Bro, they've got Reed Miney anyway. They've got Riley Smith.
He's good.
Very quickly, want to talk about the refs crackdown. So apparently now the NRL is going to instruct the
That was
the
disgusting.
video ref not to go back and review the things that happened
was
off camera, off the
disgusting.
ball. What an absolute mistake by the NRL. For them to
That was a
it
turn off.
18 sin bins, God knows how many suspensions. It was an absolute joke. The NRL never does things correctly. I don't usually find myself agreeing with Joey Johns, but his rant about how poor it's been handled and how poor it's been done, I have to salute to Joey Johns because it was needed, and I think he gave the NRL a big kick in the ass. What a shit display. And look, to be honest, like, I can't even blame the refs. Really, I can't blame the refs. I don't want to sit here and always, put it on the refs because it's not the refs' fault. This was all the NRL's doing. Instead of testing it with New South Wales Cup, or discussing it with the teams, or doing whatever, they have these stupid knee-jerk reactions that ruin these rounds, and they probably put a lot of teams' seasons off. Ruins people's super coach. There's all this really bad shit that ruins the season just before Origin, and then once the commentators and the fans crack the shit, then they'll be like, oh, okay. That's maybe then we can decide to we can reverse it. It's just unacceptable that the NRL, an organization that is aiming for scale and growth.
It's not a bad record, Sasha.
It doesn't really make sense to me. I think that the NRL needs to get better, and they need to put. Look, the NRL, and tell me what you guys think in the comments, right? I think that the NRL should not be allowed to make rule changes during the season. You want to do your rule changes, do them at the end or at the start of the next season. But during the season, after 4 or 5 rounds, the NRL should not be allowed to make rule changes. The other thing I think that the NRL need to do, if in fact they want to stick to this crackdown, is bring in a tiering system, a clear tiering system, whether it's intentional, unintentional, things like falling, so on and so forth. And then bring in the 5-minute sin bin. I think bring in the 5-minute sin bin. If you guys want to send off 18 players, bring in the 5-minute sin bin. It still gives the non-offending team an advantage, but it doesn't severely disadvantage the offending team, because to lose a player for 10 minutes, and especially if you lose 2 or 3 of them, you're essentially playing half the game with 12 players. And then you get fans who have no idea what they're talking about, declare that your team is now, needs to go soul searching because, they played one poor half of footy. So MK is asking, are they changing the rule or just clarifying how it's applied? I think it's a bit of both. I don't think they know what the rule is or how it's applied, and so now they're sort of changing things retroactively or on the fly. Welcome, Wise Up TV. Love having you on.
It's sold out. We didn't make the boat.
I honestly,
I was actually planning a late raid. I mean, a late fly up, but everyone's told me it's sold out.
Very difficult. Yeah, sold out. I don't think they know what the rule is, and they're sort of now telling the bunker that you can't go back and rule on things that the ref didn't catch or that the sideline referee didn't catch. You can only rule on current plays and things like that. Look,
yeah, they don't want the video ref to go back unless it's a send-off offence.
Yeah. And look, Joey Johns was saying, I think Gus Gould said it, Cameron Smith said it, a lot of the Fox League guys were saying it, is that the video ref should only be able to review a try scoring situation or like something that's egregious, like a send-off. Like the one with, apparently with Swilly and Reece Walsh last year. That's the only time. That is the only time they should be able to go back and review things. Otherwise, it's becoming a farce. It's becoming an absolute joke. This crackdown started because apparently, Miney's shot on Atkinson wasn't sin bin, and it should have been a sin bin or whatever. I don't know, bro. I'm over it. You sort of knew that it was going to affect games severely. Like even against the Tigers and the Sharks, I thought the only reason the Sharks got back into it was because of that sin bin to Fanua Pole, which was a stupid call. That was not supposed to be a sin bin.
Yeah.
There are a lot of games that were affected because of these sin bins. I think, if the Bulldogs don't cop 3 sin bins, I think we go on to win the game. I'm talking crap. But it has really affected the game.
Yeah, but they went back to those. Like it should have. Honestly, it was putting. They kept it up. They would have lost fans. They would have lost fans. They did the smart decision only to do it this one round because honestly, that would have put off a lot of people off the product of rugby league.
Especially with Magic Round happening.
It was overzealous.
Absolutely overzealous.
I actually watched a video today of Canberra versus Melbourne. I think it's 2018 or 2019, somewhere there anyway. Billy Slater passes the ball. Iosa Soliola comes and collects him after he's passed the ball and collects him. Did you see that? He knocked him out, and all he got was this on report, and that's it. Not even
that's how it should be.
Not even a sin bin. Now that for me was he knocked him out cold. That's a send off. After he passed that, yeah. But just showing back then, it was this. Last round was honestly, he comes in the shot, doesn't even hit him high. They stop the game. Oh, you're on for 10 in the bin. That was ridiculous. It was overzealous. That
and
even off the game. It's a turn off.
I felt sorry for Belinda Sharp because everyone's saying, "Oh, she did shit." She's this, she's that. I don't think that she performed too badly. I think that her problem was she was being overruled by the bunker, and you can tell it made her uncomfortable because she wasn't happy with those calls that were being made, but she had to make them anyway. And it's disappointing because I think that the refereeing, in general, I want to say this in general. Please be very clear with what I'm saying. Has improved, other than this bullshit bunker stuff. In general, I think the referees have improved. I thought Ashley Klein has been really good this year. Adam G's been, above average. I think, with the exception of the last game, I thought Liam Kennedy was good. But there was that ugly Ranga. I think he's a shit ref. I forgot what his name is. He's a rubbish ref.
Goff.
Is it Goff? I think it may be Goff. But overall, I think they're pretty good. And so, that's why I'm very careful.
Some of these people you've attracted today.
I know.
Someone's put in a second coming of Terry. Baba.
Call me Baba because I'm the second.
The game doesn't get characters like that anymore.
Mace Biggs is saying that Peter Overton reported that Gus doesn't trust Sexton and seriously considering making a play for DCE.
Really?
I mean, that contradicts. Yeah, that contradicts
that's BS, man. Surely Peter Overton would have reported on that. Don't listen to that comment. All right, that's got to be BS. Gus wouldn't come out with that. Don't fall for that.
No, look, I'm not, but I'm going to respond to it. There are reports that apparently Sexton has re-signed with the Bulldogs, so I don't think that there's any truth to that. Truth to the Gus not trusting Sexton. I don't think Gus is going to go for DC. He's too old, and that's not part of our future. If anything, right? If Gus was going to go for anyone, he would go for Lachlan Galvin. So anyway, so the poll has come out. 55% believe that the Bulldogs are going to win 13 plus. I think that's exactly where it needs to be. Nice. 25% believe Titans are going to win. Again, I don't think that's correct.
Wow, quarter of your fans.
Yeah, I mean that's
must be rival fans invading your channel.
Volts. Yeah. Whichever team you support, we want you here. I love having you here.
Yeah, David, just on your comment, this is what I personally think why negotiations probably played out. So Sexton and his manager were probably holding out for more money, but I reckon Feel Good's played his cards right and told him, well, no one's trying to sign you. You're not in demand. Yeah. We're giving you an upgraded offer. He's a bit more, but in the end, I guess they've finally come to an agreement. They've given him a significant upgrade. He's probably hoping for more, but I think Phil in the Bulldogs probably the way I'm saying, I reckon he was trying to hold out for more, and the club's played their cards right and saying, no one's chasing you. We're giving you a nice upgrade. Take it or leave it. Otherwise,
So
they'd have
Eddie
to
Abs just
stipulate.
mentioned that apparently on 100% Footy last night, Gus said that he hasn't re-signed and there's no offer on the table, which is
Wow.
quite surprising.
Is that for real, Eddie?
That's interesting. I actually thought that he was well on his way to re-signing.
I told you he's not in. He's not in demand. I don't think he's in demand. I think the Dogs are playing their cards right, so they will eventually. I still reckon they will come with an improved offer, but one he'll have to take because nobody's chasing him. I mean, who's chasing him? St
I
George.
mean,
Probably an upgrade.
Canberra could go after him. Canberra could go after now that Fogarty's gone to Manly.
But you know what? Ricky Stewart just doesn't go and sign anyone. If he sees something in you, and don't forget, Ricky Stewart is one of the great halfbacks that the game's ever seen. One of the more innovative halfbacks. One of the most underappreciated halfbacks, and he was a great player. He sees things in halves that other people don't. You know, he just doesn't go sign any player. I mean, he's the one that went and plucked Fogarty from Gold Coast. And what a signing that was.
How dumb with the Gold Coast, they've gotten rid of both Fogarty and Sexton, and now they've got no halfback. They've got essentially two running 5'8s. Anyway, Kayla, just on your question on who's replacing the players that are suspended. So it's going to be Curtis Moran, Blake Taff, and then Daniel Salika-Fafita comes into the starting side as well. All right. Enough about that. Guys, check out. I'll be releasing a lot of new content lately. I have been doing the NRL news in 60 seconds. There will be one tomorrow wrapping up round 8 with some news from round 8 and all the results and things like that. So if you do see that content pop up, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Quickly, we want to review the round that's coming up, Magic Round. I do love Magic Round. We actually did, a couple of friends and I did try to book very, very early for Magic Round, and it was just really expensive. It was actually sold out, and we can only stay about an hour from the stadium.
Honestly, it feels like you got to book everything a year in advance. No kidding. It feels like you got to
I think you have to book now. Honestly, yeah. I think you have to book
that's
now.
what I spoke to people that live up in the sunny coast where our work head office is based, and they all tell me they booked 6 months ago.
That's ridiculous.
Just to get tickets and hotels like in the Brisbane city centre 6 months ago. Fair income. Imagine having nothing else happening in your life. Anyways.
So yeah.
Yep.
So let's so Magic Round starts at 6 p.m. on Friday at Suncorp. First game. Remember, all these games are at Suncorp back to back. First game is Sharks and the Eels.
Any backs for the Eels? Who's back for the Eels?
So they've got Charlie Geimer. He's back. He's starting in the second row for them. And then they've got Bryce Cartwright is on the extended bench. I don't know if he gets he gets a run. Ryan Madison is also 18th man in the extended bench. It'll be good to see them back, but other than that, for the Sharks, Braden Hamlin-Uele is back on the bench, and then you've got essentially other than that, Kale Iro is back for the Sharks as well, which I think is great. Replaces Marwin Hiroti. Good team. Like for me, the Sharks are always like, it just doesn't make any sense how bad they are, considering
shit. Stop feeling sorry for them. Kick them while they're down. Hopefully they don't win another game for the rest of the year.
It's not a. I feel sorry for them. It's how can you persist with Nicholas Hines for so long, knowing what you know about him? He's not 7. He's never going to be 7. That ship has sailed. Nicholas Hines is, you put him at 14 or you throw him at fullback. He's not going to be your half 5'8". Braden Trindle and Daniel Atkinson will win a lot more games than Braden Trindle and Nicholas Hines. That is my genuine opinion. And so for this game, I want to say the Eels in a close one, but I get the feeling that the Sharks probably need a win now more so than the Eels. What are your thoughts on that, Dibbo?
Look, the Eels are so improved. Like we saw that masterclass from a returning Mitchell Moses. Eels have definitely improved a lot. I am still going to go Cronulla, but albeit in a close game. I'm going to go Cronulla by 8 points, but Para's going to be threatening him for large waves of the game. I feel like it's going to be a close game.
Just quickly, Jamie's sending another super chat. He's saying Dogs only lose another 4 or 5 games all year. Look, I agree with you 100%. I was saying that that the Dogs will win out of 24 games. I think the Dogs will win 18 or 19. I think we'll lose 5 or 6 games max this year. In my honest opinion. So definitely agree. And thank you again for the super chat. Really, really love all your support, Jamie. You're an absolute legend. Also, be sure to check out Jamie's Bulldogs
I hope not, Eddie.
doghouse. He's fantastic.
Yeah, I saw that. That was mad. Far
Yeah.
out.
And guys, just want to quickly point out, if you guys are absolute mad Bulldog supporters and you do have like a room where you show all your Bulldogs gear and you display all your jerseys and stuff, please send us like a 30-second video of your room with all your Bulldog stuff in there. And I would love to just put that up and show everybody, all the supporter display items and the Bulldogs rooms and stuff like that. They've been very, very popular and people keep asking us to show more. So if you do have, please send them across. Then I'm gonna go. Head says Sharks, heart says Eels, but I'm gonna go Sharks by 6. Then that Friday night game will be Roosters and Dolphins. I'm going to say Dolphins by 13 plus.
Who's the Roosters missing anyone?
Yeah, so they don't really get anyone back. Same team.
Did they lose anyone from the Dragons game?
No, they didn't.
Far out. This is going to be a cracking game. I'm going to go Roosters by 4 points.
No, I'm going to go Dolphins by 13 plus. I think the Dolphins. Yeah.
Home territory.
Home territory. They'll have a lot of Dolphins fans, and I think that they'll be very disappointed with the way they finished that game against the Raiders.
They let that.
I think they're a great team.
That was a bad second half. Yeah.
Look, the Raiders are fantastic. Like, you can't deny how good the Raiders are. Then 3 p.m. on Saturday, it'll be Rabbitohs and Knights. Jai Gray goes to fullback. Wyden goes to 6. Sullivan 7. And obviously, then we still have Peter Mamazulis at 9. With the Knights, Pong, it's sort of as named with Jack Cogger and Fletcher Sharp in the halves. Crossland at 9.
All right, who have the Souths lost this week? They seem to lose someone every week and not gaining.
They've lost. They've lost just Latrell Mitchell and Siliva Havili. Actually, they've also lost.
I'm going to go Newcastle to finally win a game.
I'm going to go
Newcastle by 6. They can't seem to score points, but this just might be the game.
I'm going to go Rabbitohs.
You're
by
inclined
10.
to, yeah. They're a lot better team from what we've seen and South's got a lot of injuries themselves, but they just seem to. They just seem to use trips every week.
They did very well against the Storm.
They just lose players every week. That's why I'm just thinking, man, they just keep. Look, you know what? They get Hubner back, so I'm going to change my tip. I'm going to go Souths by 8.
I also reckon
Jai Gray goes to fullback, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. I also reckon. I reckon Schuster's gonna. I reckon Schuster might make his comeback this week in place of Fletcher Myers as well. You heard it here first.
Who comes back on the wing in place of Fletcher Myers?
No, Josh Schuster, because Fletcher Myers is named at 17. I reckon Josh Schuster comes back into that 17 position.
Is he in the 21?
Yes.
Wow.
He's 20. That's my early call. What do you guys reckon?
Man, I'm actually flabbergasted because I saw Josh Schuster about 6 months ago because he was obviously rehabbing at the gym next door to work. Man, honestly, it looked like he had been in KFC in the whole time he was away from the game. No word of a lie. I looked at him and thought, man, he's got to be about 120, 130 kilos. Like, I know that at the time I said to myself, I know South has just signed him, but man, I hope his attitude's right and he's literally training the house down every. And then even about 4 months ago when I seen him, because you heard that rumble he was on the outer at South, and I wasn't surprised, but it looks like he's put his head out of his ass the last couple of months. So I hope he comes back and sets the world on fire because he's such a talented player.
Yeah, agreed. And then we got the Cowboys and the Warriors. Look, Cowboys had a great win against a very, very poor Titans team. I still believe that the Cowboys are the ultimate pretenders. They will not achieve anything this year whatsoever. I've got the Warriors winning this one quite comfortably by 12 points. I
like
think
your shout there. Yes.
I reckon the Cowboys are big pretenders. They talk it up and they do this, but they haven't really been put under pressure. You know, and I just don't think they. Again, everybody's starting to froth over Nene. Look, any good attack will make Nene look like a passenger. Nene's a passenger. Ruben Cotter's been shit all year. Reece Robson has been good, I'll admit. Tom Dearden finally had a decent game. And Drinkwater's fairly consistent, but overall, I think that they are pretenders, and I think that the Warriors will show their class. They've got a great team. Leka Halasima starting at 12 is fantastic.
What a fine day, Halasima. Even that Vamuga off the bench. Wow.
Oh yeah, Vamunga's amazing. So
sorry if I mispronounced his name, but wow.
And the Bunty,
Halasima.
the Bunty's on the bench. So
yeah, I just think, don't upset the guy.
And look, Wade Egan's been fantastic. So I just think, I think the Warriors will definitely put a big one on them. I'm going to go Warriors by score. Then you've got, and I mean, guys,
I just want to give a shout out to Waz TV for the super chat. Thanks for that, man. Like, I actually loved seeing the New Zealand dollars pop up. That was fantastic.
Appreciate it, my man.
It actually gave me a sense of pride that we got an international fan base. We do have a guy that watches from San Francisco, and some odd reason we had some people from Bangladesh watching a while back, if you guys remember.
I reckon, guys, if you can, go and check out Waz Up TV on YouTube as well. Great channel, great Warriors content. They're going hard in 2023 and 2024. It's been fantastic. Really love their content. Really appreciate your time. And for supporting us, Waz Up, bro, you're an absolute legend. You know what? When the Dogs are versing the Warriors, we'll do a joint podcast live with you, me, and Dibbo, and we'll talk about the game. Abdul Finch says, hey boys, sorry I've been missing out on the live chats. Always been so busy, but I was watching you blokes the very next morning. Great listen, boys, doing great. Abdul, love your support.
Thanks, Abdul, man.
Thank you so much, guys. Very quickly, next game is.
Just want to give a shout out to Anastas. I know he'll probably be listening to us the next day while I was, he operates heavy machinery like bulldozers, excavation, demolition, and all that. He normally if we got it on Spotify, he plays that. So hopefully that's a memo to Elmo to upload it on Spotify. But if not, he just watches. He puts the YouTube on, and honestly, he's told me he'll work 2 hours straight just listening off the podcast, and he loves it.
Makes me so happy, man.
Shout out to you, Anastas. Love you, man.
Okay, so West Tigers and the Dragons. Look, Dibbo, I'm going to let you talk us through this one.
And I love how the media now is picking up on it, and they're using the sentences such as, well, the coach is unlikely to drop his son. They're pretty much saying, well, your son is shit as well, but because he's your son, that's why you're not dropping him. So they've dropped Lachlan Ilias. The Dragons got the worst halves in the NRL, probably in history, man. That is some dread. I've been calling that for how long? I've been telling you guys for a while. It's 15 versus 11. They're out there every week. The side's not a bad side. They're absolutely rudderless. Like, there's not, I'm surprised they can score 4 tries a game. But if you look at most of the tries, it had nothing to do with the halves. It's insane they can score 4 tries a game. Anyways, I've actually got the Tigers up between 1 to 12. They got things going for them. They got up against Cronulla last week, and that was a nice, good game. Like, Cronulla, I find, is still a top 8 team. And, the Tigers hung in there. At stages, they actually went up way ahead. They threatened to run away with it. They got complacent. Let the Sharks back in. They also are down to 12 men, obviously that bullshit call. And look, they're still resilient enough to pull it off at the end. They're playing with confidence. It's coming off for them. Whereas St. George are just, the coach's son's still there. As long as he's still there, I can't see them winning games like this. Liking King Toga, the 18, 19-year-old comes into the side this week. He's actually not a halfback. He's actually a 5'8", but obviously the coach is doing everything to keep his son protected by keeping his son, who is a halfback, 100%. Playing in 6, so he doesn't cop the blame. I hope Liking King Toga has a great game.
Same.
Again, players. Look, Dylan Egan's in the starting team, as is Hamish Stewart. 2 guys that should be there. So Hamish Stewart's back from concussion.
Brilliant.
2 classy players that should have debuted 100%. Last year, but Obviously, we give players like Blake Laurie a go first.
Well,
Gonna
Laurie
go
has
do
been dropped and Dibbo, Emre Gula, and Luciano Leilua are starting on the bench, which I think is a brilliant move because I think
I still
Hamish
reckon
Stewart
Little
is
should
again.
start ahead of Cook.
I agree with you. I did very quickly though want to call out, I give a shout out to Corey Allen. He's been injured for the last 2 years and he's finally making his
Good
return
shout
to
out.
first grade.
Glad to see him.
You're very, very happy to see Corey Allen back. If he ever sees this, I just want to say, congratulations. It was a shame when we had him at the Bulldogs. I do think he's a great player. And I'm very happy to see him back and I hope he absolutely kills it. But for me, I do think that the Tigers will be way too good in this game. I think that they'll have much more attack. And that
They got everything going for them. Like, they're playing with confidence. You know what?
And I think their bench has been very good. Look, their bench has been excellent for them. I think Royce Hunt, even though he's playing in small stints, has been fantastic.
That Terrell May, I'll tell you now, him and Payne Haas have been out and out the two best front rowers this season. Like, I would give Terrell May a spot in Origin. Honestly,
he's a starting spot.
I'd start him.
100%.
I would start him and Haas. Absolute beasts, the both of them. Workhorses. Yeah. Like, phenomenal. Like, he's going to kill St. George on what day are they playing? Saturday? Anyway.
So this one's Saturday, 7:45 p.m. Yeah.
I reckon he's going to kill them. But I just really, really honestly want this bad from a St. George point of view. I want Liking King Tiger to have an absolute gun of a game. You know, obviously the coach is still not going to sack his son. But it means Liking King Toga stays in first grade. And I hope he kills it for the rest of the year because next year they get Dan Atkinson. What's Flanagan going to do there? How's he going to keep Dan Atkinson from Cronulla out of the halves pairing? So he's got no reason. Eventually he'll probably be put in a corner, drop your son, or we won't renew your contract. Like, the guy is literally jeopardizing his own team, his own contract by keeping his son remaining in the halves. They've been dreadful. And it's criminal that he hasn't even dropped his son. Should have dropped him last year for Jesse Marshke.
No, I agree.
Instead, Jesse Marshke left the club instead.
Look, I'm saying Tigers by 12. Titans, Bulldogs. I think
they'll just have too much. Yeah. We covered that. Oh, bloody Penrith.
Panthers, Broncos.
You got to go to the Broncos.
I reckon the Broncos are going to go back to being shit. I reckon the Panthers are going to win.
Are the Broncos missing anyone for this game from last week?
No, actually, they get Jordan Ricky back.
Keep him out. I would keep Xavier Willison starting. He was good. What about Penrith? Does Brian Tuttle come back?
No, so he's still not back.
Shame. I'm missing that guy.
I actually reckon Thomas Jenkins is probably one of the worst players in the NRL at the moment. I think
he's a fullback. That's why.
He's just a waste of time.
I miss Brian. He's such a character. He won us. Remember last year's State of Origin? How good was that?
Yeah. I mean, look. Obviously, he's not going to turn their fortunes around. I thought there were some good touches from Blaise Talangi, but it just wasn't to be. They were trying too hard. I still think that the Broncos are going to shit themselves again. They're going to play garbage footy because they don't.
This is meant to be a tough game. I don't know what to say about Penrith, man. Like,
Panthers.
I hope they turn it around.
I'm going to say Panthers by 6.
Like, can you hate Penrith? You can't even hate them. They're a team that won 4 in a row. And, you think they get all the hate. You got to be a really bitter person to hate them.
Yeah,
like, even when they were winning, I thought, what a champion team. Like, normally you're just full of bitterness to the teams. But this was a team I just admired. And a lot of people did as well.
And I still do. Honestly, I'm
just hating how they're not going so well.
I want to say...
I hope they turn it on. I
just don't see.
I'm still going to go Brisbane, mind you. I'm going to go Brisbane by 14 because I'm just don't know what sort of Penrith's going to rock up. Anyways,
you also don't know what sort of Brisbane's going to rock up.
I said it. How often can they turn on those sort of halves? But
one man in his whiteboard said we should poach.
Love that name. Silva. Agree.
As much as I want to say I agree, I want to see the Tigers keep their talent. I think that Talent Silva is a great player.
Leave him.
If we can get him, I'll be happy. Better club. Let's see how it goes. I'm going to say Panthers by 6. What are you going to say? Broncos by 12?
No, I said Broncos by 4. But it's one of those weird games again. Like, you know what? If Penrith are playing to their ability, I'd be tipping Penrith. Honestly.
Yeah.
Here we are. What are they? 2 and 6? It's insane. Yeah. If they're 4 and 4, all right, I'll probably still tip Penrith. But they're 2 and 6.
All right, final game.
I wanted to win that game badly last week. Anyways.
Me too, bloody Manly. Final game, Melbourne and the Raiders, 6 p.m. on. Yep.
Wow, what a game. This is going to be mouth-watering. I'm going to go Canberra.
I'm going to go Canberra as well.
Canberra by 6.
Canberra by 6 or 8, yeah. Definitely
Far
Canberra.
out what a team they built. Literally in one season. That Ricky Stewart, someone give him credit. We've been bashing him for how long? Give him credit. I hope he replaces the halfback with another good halfback. But he unearths this talent. Like, he's got Matty Nicholson now. He went and signed Cervelli Tamale from St. George. Mind you, St. George decided to keep has-beens, in the team. Instead of releasing them, keeping Tamale. And look at Cervelli Tamale, 19 years old or 20 years old at Canberra. And last week he was immense again. He's hard to tackle. He's only probably on 200, 250K. That's St. George for you. Let the good talent go. Keep the rejects.
But I think Sebastian Chris and Xavier Savage, as well as KO Weeks, have been
the
fantastic.
whole team.
Yeah, Corey Horsburgh, what a comeback. Like, copped a lot of shit last year, but has come back.
He was on the out, I remember.
Yeah. Hudson Young killing it.
Matty Nicholson,
wow, what a captain.
We can keep going. And even that Paddy off the bench improves every week.
And Hoskins back as well. He's been missing.
I know, straight into it. They're props. That Tarpanay is an out and out. What a champion front row he's. One of my favourite players in the game.
Look, he's up there. I think he's up there with the Tinos and the Mays and the Haasas. I think we're very blessed at the moment. We've got 5 or 6 props that are absolutely killing it. In terms of the Storm, Nick Meaney obviously is back there. Grant Anderson comes back this week as well into centre.
No, he was there last week.
Oh, was he? Did he play last week?
You're probably confusing with Hovarth, who didn't play last week.
He's out for a stint. Yes, that's right. Yep. Falonga's still on the wing there. Warwick, Warbrick's still injured.
Yeah.
I think Stefano Utoikamanu has been underwhelming so far at the Storm.
He's had the odd good game here and there, but you're on the money there. They need more out of him.
Yeah. I think Joe Chan's been really good. I'm a big fan of Joe Chan.
Bronson Garlic, I like to see him get more game time. For some reason, I don't know why Wishart gets as much game time, but I'd love to see Garlic gets given 60 minutes this week.
I mean, he's starting at 9, so we'll see how he goes.
He's a second rower that plays your lock as well, hooker. He's so good, Garlic.
Yeah,
I was so impressed with him last week.
Yeah, I still think that the Raiders' youth and speed will be too much for them. But it could go either way. The Melbourne Storm could come out and
cracking.
Yeah, but if the Raiders turn it on, I don't think the Melbourne so far this year have shown the defense that they need.
What do you reckon about Canberra? You reckon they're a top 4 prospect? I reckon they are. They've proved me wrong completely after 8 rounds. But obviously it's only 8 rounds. But from what they're shown, I think they're a top 4 prospect.
I think they're a top 4. I think they're a top 4 prospect, 100%.
What a team! Stay fit,
great team.
Stay healthy,
100%. So they're our tips. Quickly, Bluey, Mark just saying, Bluey, are you going to do another podcast with the guy from Newcastle again? I enjoyed that podcast.
That guy's a nice. Yeah, I like that podcast.
Great guy. We were supposed to do one when we first them last time, but I actually lost my voice because I was sick. Kayla is saying she's surprised that Montoya didn't get a week or 2 off. Look, he copped a fine, but I don't think he did anything.
That was ridiculous. How was that even a sin bin? The guy fell into him. That was insane. Mm-hmm. He copped the fine for the guy falling into him.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything, the NRL should be paying a fine for sin binning him. They should be paying the money to him. That was ridiculous.
And I guess with that, we sort of come to the end of the podcast.
I don't want to end the podcast.
I don't want to either, but it's almost 9:30. We really appreciate all your support. If you're still here, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up. And please be sure to subscribe, share our stuff. We're releasing a lot of different type of content. Please be sure to I
love this.
Turn the bell icon on.
Loved it.
I love it.
It was heated. It was good. Everyone got in on the chat. It was piling on. Bring your friends back next week. We can always have a nice constructive discussion with differing opinions. Love it. Bring your mate.
Every week what we do is we sort of we schedule the podcast to start 2 or 3 hours early so that you can share the link with your mates to sort of jump on when we jump on. But again, thank you all for your support. Thanks to everyone who gave us super chat. Thank you to Jamie. Thank you to AMK TV for becoming a member. Thanks to everybody that spent the evening with us. Really enjoy it. We've got heaps of content coming out, heaps of stuff in the works. Thank you so much, guys, and have a great evening. Hope you do well. Hope doggies do well. But I hope the Broncos get shat on. Thank you very much, and have a good evening.
Much appreciated, gents and
See you
ladies.
guys.
Thank you.